Hello, good morning. This is Jon Foulkes from Softcat, and welcome to this joint webinar hosted by Softcat together with QuantiQ. Today, this morning, we're looking at Microsoft Dynamics, the Unified Operations Plan broadly, Microsoft's latest cloud platform for ERP, Exapta, and AX as a latest ERP platform. As I say, I'm joined by QuantiQ, Andy Blatch, who is Senior Solutions Consultant at QuantiQ. QuantiQ occupy our top tier in terms of partner accreditation, so they are an elite Softcat partner and absolutely our go-to safe pair of hands when it comes to any Dynamics consultancy or implementations. So, Andy, over to you just for a quick intro, if you would.
Right, no, thanks for that, John. Great intro. My name's Andy Blatch. I work for QuantiQ, as John said. Basically, I've been in the ERP space myself now, working as a consultant for the last 20-odd years or so. Late 90s, I moved over, having worked in industry as an accountant, and now I have the honour of demonstrating the latest version of the product to people like your good selves. So thank you, everyone, for joining today. Appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedules. As John says, we're going to focus our session today on the unified operations elements of the Dynamics 365 product. I won't spend any great time talking about QuantiQ. What I will do is perhaps highlight a few facts and figures about us as we go through the presentation rather than covering that to start with. I'm going to dive straight in. Now, bearing in mind we have a 45-minute time allocated here. This is quite a relatively small window to give you a real flavour of the breadth of the product and its key features. So if after this session you've heard something that really piques your interest, please do make contact with your regular contact at Softcat, and we can certainly organise a more detailed, tailored demonstration of particular features or areas that you're really interested in. Also, do please feel free to ask questions as we go through via the chat window, and we have an element of time at the end to really answer those questions for you as well as we can. Failing that, we can always follow on with emails and conversations too. So without further ado, let's move into the presentation. So in terms of the product stack from Microsoft, in terms of their Dynamics business solutions, the slide here is really showing us that breadth. They moved into ERP and CRM products about 20 years ago.
Has joined the meeting.
So some of these names may appear familiar to you. You may have heard these names bandied around: CRM, AX, GP, NAV, and so on. And now D365 or Dynamics 365. So effectively, QuantiQ as an organisation
has joined the meeting.
All of these products. But now, the latest versions of all of these are really in Dynamics 365, of which there are two flavours. There's the Enterprise Edition and there's Business Central. The Enterprise Edition incorporates all elements of CRM and what was AX, and the Business Central Edition incorporates all elements of what was Navision or NAV and also CRM. So effectively, these have now been brought together into a unified product suite that covers all of the previous functionality. So if you're used to names like AX, Exapta, CRM, Great Plains, Navision, NAV, GP, these are now really what's being referred to as Dynamics 365. So what is Dynamics 365?
Has left the meeting.
So Dynamics 365 is the bringing together of what was CRM in old terms and ERP into one unified product suite. Now, a colleague of mine, Kevin Gray, gave a similar webinar last week covering the sort of sales-focused areas. So today we're focusing on the three areas on the left-hand side here: finance and operations, retail, and talent. So finance and operations really covers, it's a bit of a misnomer, the word finance is it's not just finance, it's also manufacturing, supply chain, sales management, project management, transportation management. All those things you'd want to operationally run your business. We've then got the retail element of the product suite, which we'll cover, which, as it says on the tin, it's for retail, it's web shops, store management, catalogues, and so on. And talent, which is really that whole HR piece. It's really looking at how we attract, onboard, develop, and manage those scarce resources that we have in the market these days. So we won't be touching on the right-hand side, the marketing, sales, field service, customer service, project service, automation. They say there was a very similar webinar given last week covering those, which will also be available, Softcat will have available, I'm sure, on their website. So if you're interested in those features too, please do take the time to look at that 45-minute presentation too. So the key thing to take away here, these are unified into a single product suite. So the information is shared across all of these. We have a thing called the common data service that shares the sort of simplified object. So you enter a customer in, say, the marketing area or a prospect, which converts into a customer in sales. That's then available in finance and operations for us to use to service that demand and so on. Other things to note, this is available in the cloud. So it's a cloud-based solution, so that the beauty of that is you can access it from anywhere on any device. So you could be, I don't know, in a bar on holiday on your iPad, and you can log in and work, which of course I know you'd all love to do. We've also got a local business data version. We can also have an on-premise solution. So if you don't want to take advantage of all the benefits of moving to the cloud, like reducing the risk of disaster recovery and all the infrastructure costs and so on. If you perhaps just invested several £1 million in your own server farm, of course, or servers, you can have a local business version as well, an on-premise solution. This also ties in with the rest of the Microsoft stack as you'd expect it. It ties in with Power BI, a really powerful BI and reporting solution that gives you slice and dice visualizations with also natural language queries. So you can type in things like show me sales by product for Q2 by region, and it'll bring up a pie chart showing that and so on. Also Power Apps and Microsoft Flows. Power Apps are a tool for developing and creating your own mobile applications. I'll look at those very briefly later on. And Microsoft Flow is a tool for linking together other apps and solutions to Dynamics 365, or not even to Dynamics 365, to other apps and solutions. I'll talk about that in more detail later. So it's a facility for you to, without using lots of heavy development, tie together triggers from certain apps and systems to trigger events in other systems and so on. Okay, without further ado then, let me dive into the finance and operations section. It's worth noting the consultants we have here at QuantiQ, a number of them, like myself, come from an industry background. So when you're looking at implementing finance and operations, the benefit we bring to this is that we've got people who perhaps were production managers or accountants like myself, or they've worked in sales or HR and so on. And so they can bring to bear not just the product knowledge, but the real deep understanding of actually the business requirements and how that translates into the use of the product. So I'm going to cover a few of the key areas here. First, I'm going to talk about finance within Dynamics 365 Finance and Operations. It's worth noting, the slide that says it's a standard finance package at its core, but it has lots of other fantastic features around it. So it has GL, fixed assets, purchase ledger, sales ledger, cash and bank, and so on. All the elements you'd expect to be there. However, there are some key features worth drawing out that are a massive benefit to this. So it's a global solution. So you can, if you have a large organization, or if it's not global, if it's lots of legal entities within one single, within the entire business, we can deploy this across that entire business. So you've got all your data in one single solution. So you've got intelligence and analytics in real time that will look across your global finance solution. So you can look at a consolidated view of the business at the click of a button in real time, effectively, which gives you the facility to slice and dice and so on. In terms of your workforce productivity, I'm going to show a little bit of the product shortly. We have the concept of workspaces. We also have automation and integration with Office 365 tools. So workspace I'll talk about shortly when I do a brief demo. The integration with Office 365, for instance, within the solution you can open up, say, a screen. You're looking at your list of customers. You can then just click a button and open that in Excel. You can edit it in Excel, so say maybe you're doing a bulk update of payment terms, for instance. You can copy and paste, drag and drop down in Excel the new payment terms against all your customers or the relevant ones, and you can publish it straight back. So without leaving the product, you can click on a button, open stuff in Excel, edit, publish back. So it's got complete integration. And it's not just Excel, it's Word, Project, and so on it integrates with. In terms of controlling your operational expenses, There's a very strong workflow solution within here for approvals. You choose how complex or simple it is. So you can replicate your delegation of authority matrix very easily within the solution. We've got budget planning, so you can create budgets, and we've got budgetary control, so you can actually set out budgets against a department, a cost centre, an expense line, and so on, and the system will then either warn people they're exceeding it or stop them from exceeding it. And of course, if you so wish, you've got three-way matching. It's also worth noting the solution is evolving all the time. It's a cloud-based solution, so as regulatory requirements change, or taxation requirements change, the solution is being updated to take those into account. It's worth noting, if you are a global organisation, the functionality you have within the system is dependent upon the location, the address of the legal entity. So if you have a US branch and say a Swedish branch or a UK branch, the functionality will differ slightly to take into local reporting purposes. So for things like in the US you'll have sales tax and 1099. In the UK, you'll have Intrastat, EU sales lists, and VAT, and so on. So very quick, we'll stop. That's the key finance elements. Looking now at, say, the manufacturing side. If you're a manufacturing business, you've got, again, the standard features. You've got production control, your bombs, routes, variances, all that good stuff. But also, you can have a mix of different processes here. You can have discrete manufacturing, lean manufacturing, and process manufacturing in that single solution. So it may be you have different elements of your business that have, say, like make to stock, make to order, configure to order, and so on. You can configure the solution to enable all of the types to coexist in that one single solution. So you can group your products, your ranges, and so on by the way that you want to manufacture and manage those. You've also got the facility to look at your resource management within the system very easily. So you look at your job scheduling. You can see, are we over or under capacity in certain areas, and so on. In terms of product delivery, it's a single system. So your flow from manufacture all the way out to finished goods and warehousing and onward logistics is all within that one system. There's an advanced warehousing module which includes such as barcode scanning and so on. You've also got a transportation management element to the solution, which enables you to sort of manage your containers, your loads, your routes, and so on. And obviously, I'm talking about all these great features in here. If your business is simpler than that, you don't have to implement all of these features. The part of the beauty of the solution is it can be as simple or as complex as you want it to be. So you can, certain businesses will start off with a sort of minimum viable product approach and start with very simple processes and then evolve out and start using other areas of functionality. So it really is incredibly flexible. One of the approaches we take with regards to projects is looking at, well, what gives you the most business benefit first? If you're replacing lots of legacy systems, perhaps it makes sense to pick the two that are most costly or most cumbersome or worrisome or at risk first, and then evolve out into some of the other areas. One last thing on here, we've also got some excellent quality management processes built in to the solution too. So in a nutshell, those are your key features of our manufacturing offering within the solution. So in terms of your supply chain, so really we can really optimize our fulfillment across the piece. This is, as I say, this is a single solution. So even if you're a single legal entity company, you might have, for instance, lots of different sites. You might have in supply chain, if you're in distribution, perhaps a food distribution company or some such. You might have multiple sites, a hub and spoke possibly. With the facility, you want to transfer goods between sites based on certain logic and so on. So this can easily be set up within the system. We've also got, again, being a single system, we've got back-to-back order-to-cash processes, procure-to-pay process. So we can automate this. You've got first point of contact. You've got a sales quotation, which can be converted into an order, which then needs fulfilling from supply chain perspective or maybe manufacturing, which can flow straight through via planning into procurement. From the procurement side, we've got the facility for requests for quotations to be processed, for purchase requisitions, possibly for those sort of non-trading items and so on. So it's got that full package and all of these processes knit together seamlessly within that one solution, with the facility to workflow them where appropriate. In terms of predictive insights, again, we've got some real-time analysis available, but more than this, the demand planning, the forecasting solution, this utilises Azure machine learning, for instance. So this solution, it's a cloud solution, so it sits on the cloud, it sits on Microsoft Azure servers. So effectively, we have machine learning available to us to enable us to really use the intelligence there that's available to work out what our demand plan might be. There may be some seasonality, there may be certain aspects where we've got a campaign that we're expecting the demand to grow based on the back of that and so on. So there are certain algorithms that are available, freely available, within Azure machine learning to assist in that demand planning. This is a real massive benefit. Years ago, data scientists and so on, you had to pay six-figure salaries to get somebody in there to do anything clever with your data and you use AI-type technology. Whereas now, this is now being democratized. It's now available by utilizing this. Now, I'll talk about AI again when I get onto the talent side. And again, it's worth noting, unified processes. We've got, this is it's a single system. You've got all your processes in one place. What I'm talking about being a single system, it's worth noting this also integrates. It has a whole set of integration tools that come with it. So if you choose to keep hold of a set of legacy systems, and then you want to feed these in, of course we can equally work with those. It uses standard core Microsoft technology to build those interfaces. Now, perhaps you're not manufacturing distribution, perhaps you're a service type business and you're really focused on project management. Well, the solution really it utilises things like Microsoft Projects, so we can build work breakdown structures within the solution. We can output them as project plans, but more than that, once we've got the work breakdown structure in, we can use that to drive our resourcing demands. We can use it to link certain actions, activities, and purchases to a particular task, and so on, which enables us to set forecasting budgets based on the work breakdown structure. So you can have lots of project control in here. We can look at things like committed spend, actuals versus commitments versus actuals and so on. Okay, in terms of resource demands, again, we can look at within here, we have all of our employees set up with their certain skills and competencies in place. So when we set a project up, we can say this task demands somebody who is a project manager with certain experience of a particular project or a particular competency certification or exam that they've passed and so on. And so we can use this to really optimize our resourcing. We have a single view of all our resources and we can use the system to suggest to us who should be applying to our projects. Of course, we have the choice to override that and do as we wish. We also have a number of mobile apps, which we'll see shortly, which enable us to enter our time, expenses and so on against projects very, very easily. So certain users don't necessarily have to have access to the system, they can just have a mobile app and be entering data direct from that. Okay, so those are the broad businesses that we cover. So just in terms of the basic platform itself, it has a number of tools now which enable you to extend the solution yourself without recourse to developers and so on to modify it. It's got a good, strong... people saying they can't hear properly. Bear with me a second. I'll move my headpiece around. Is that any better? Can people hear now?
I think, Andy, keep going. I think...
keep going. Okay.
Thanks.
Okay, so ordinarily, in your old school sort of systems, if you needed anything changed, if you needed a new form or some new functionality, you pay somebody to modify and develop that. You can now, there's now functionality within to enable your key users, those that have some savvy, I guess, to edit forms and deploy web and mobile apps and so on. We also have the facility to extend the solution out. The core solution is very functionally rich, but there is also a whole raft of other extensions available. For instance,
Has left the meeting.
I was working with Microsoft the other day. We're looking at a customer cash allocation solution, which again uses artificial intelligence. It will take your open customer invoices, it will ingest your bank statements, and it can then use the artificial intelligence to match the customer receipts against the outstanding invoice and so on. So there's lots of extendability there. Of course, investing with confidence, it's a Microsoft product. It's got a great familiarity. It's got some great backing. It's here for the long term. In terms of what's coming, in the latest October release, we now have global credit management, including debt management and risk management. Revenue recognition functionality exists within the core, but it has been in line with IFRS 15 and Accounting Standards Codification 606. It has improved its functionality to take into account bundles and kits that are being sold. We have a global vendor and customer management functionality in the latest release. So we've got field level approval of specific records. That maybe that's different departments approve different elements of data of your customer and vendor and supplier records. We've got configurable templates, so people can modify those standard invoice templates. You can really tailor it to look like something your business is proud of. For those of you with any Russian branches, Russian localizations are now within the core standard, and also VAT has been added for the UAE. Okay, I'm going to quickly dive into the product and then move on to retail and HR. Cognizant we have about 20 minutes left, so we're making good time. So bear with me 2 seconds while I just come out of the presentation and I just go into for it. Okay, so what I'm opening now is the standard product. Don't be alarmed at the number of items on there. I am an administrator, so I am seeing absolutely everything. Your end users, there are some 120 plus roles that come out of the box with it, such as warehouse manager, purchase ledger clerk, sales rep, and so on, which will tailor what people see. So they'll only see what they absolutely need. So I'm going to show you 3 things. I'm going to show you workspaces. So workspaces are bringing together. Let me just reconnect. Workspaces are bringing together of data, activities, tasks, and so on to enable their day-to-day job. So I'm going to wear the hat of a credit controller at the moment. I've gone into my workspace here. First thing to note, I have some tiles over here. And this is surfacing information that's really pertinent to my day job. So I'm a credit controller. I want to know what disputes I've got. I want to know what dunning letters need to go out. I want to know who's over their credit limit. But it's actually an interactive tile. If I click on this, this will actually take me to, here are my customers over their credit. I want to drill down to the next level of detail. So, well, what have they got due on their account and so on? Click on the customer there. That's then going to open their account up and show me all the details beneath that. So I've got all our disputes, all our open transactions, and all our activities. So within 2 clicks, I've literally gone from, here's an area, a red flag, something I need to look at. I've looked at what the list is, and then I'm straight into the detail. These tiles can be configured too. You can create your own tiles. So if you want to see other things on here to be flagged to you as soon as you come in, you can add your own too. We've also got interactive graphs. So here I've got a section of my pie chart that's 180 days overdue. Let's click on that. Let's have a look at, well, who's overdue? Here we go. Here's our 3 customers. I want to know what exactly do these guys owe? What's the breakdown of this? Just click on that. And again, I'm straight to the list of details of the disputes and what's overdue there. So again, this is just surfacing data in an easy to consume form. And I can just click through, I can look at the areas of concern, click through and deal with them immediately. I haven't got to go searching for information or run reports and so on. This is also filtered in multiple ways. I shan't go into that in detail, we'll save that for more detailed demo. And finally, we have a list view which shows lists of various things, customers overdue, credit limits and so on. And some links to areas that I might want to use in my day-to-day job, like creating a dunning letter or an aging report or a statement or so on. So the workspace, to summarise there, workspace is a way of surfacing data and activities for an end user. So they're not searching through a menu system or having to think, where do I go to do this? It's just brought straight to you, and these can be configured for your specific purposes too. I'll show you just one more, just to give you a view of what they could look like. Second, so I'm going to show you again, forgive me, I'm an ex-accountant, so I've got a bit of a financial bent. Let's look at financial period close very quickly. This is showing me my task list. It's giving me a list of companies within the organisation down the middle here and how many of these activities we've completed. Bear in mind this is March 2017, so I really am very late on my financial close. If I click on this, this now gives me a task list of what's expected in a period close. It's got the activity, the area, and the individual responsible, and when they were due to have done it. Again, this is completely configurable by you. You can set dependencies and so on. More importantly, this isn't just a static list. If I would say, Dan, I'm coming here month end, I've got my council reval, I just click on the item and it takes me to the function. Yeah, so you can drive your month end processes from this list. And the individuals would see this as their own list, they only see theirs. Me as the financial controller, I'm seeing everyone's. It also gives me data so I can look at processes perhaps are running behind. Capability issue, do we have a process issue that I need to look at addressing, and so on. Okay, that's workspaces. Again, I've shown you finance ones there. As you can see on this page here, there are many that cover the whole breadth of the product. I'm now going to show you a thing called a task guide. So normally, when we learn a new system, we have training, we have manuals to look at, we have videos, and so on. What we have here is something better than that, a task guide. Task guide actually walks us through the process within the system. So say there are certain tasks that I do frequently, I can record that task and share it with other people for them to play back, or if I go on holiday, say, or if I've got a new starter. So these are all good ways of reminding us.
Has left the meeting.
Now I recorded one, Blue Peter moment, here's one I created, rather than showing how I record one, just to show you the power. So I'm going on holiday, I want somebody how to raise a PM. I'm going to open this up. I'm going to start the task. So to start with, it's not very interesting. It's a list of stuff. This box here, watch this box. It's saying go to procurement and purchase. So let's go and do procurement and sourcing and all purchases. Now watch the box for a second. That's going to have a little bit of a jiggle while we think. And now it's telling me go over here and click new. See the power of this? Rather than reading a document that's dogged, out of date, and so on, I've actually been told what within the system. Yeah, it's walking me through step by step, so I can't go on. If I choose one thing, it tells me to go back. Yeah, so really, really, very, very, very powerful. Now that works across the whole of the piece. So it's not just purchase orders, across the entire solution. It's also worth noting several hundred of these already available as standard. So you don't have to record the tasks, you can just play them. They're available for you. You can look them up, go into your help, and it will just type in purchase order, it will bring that up. The last thing I want to show you before I look at retail is applications. So here on our mobile, we've got a facility. We can access the solution via mobile. I can enter things like expenses, approve invoices, purchase orders, and so on. And you can add to this list of apps just to show you how simple it is. I'm just going to enter an expense. I'm going to say I've had a meal, for instance. I'm going to drop down this predefined list. You will have defined a list of categories yourself as part of the implementation. Meal. It's going to cost me £24, say. And then I'm going to take a photo of my receipt. So literally, again, this is live. Here's the chair next to me. Take a photo. Actually, that'd be a receipt rather than that. I click OK. I can submit. That's as easy as your expenses are. This is all parcel of the solution. So it's all in there. Okay. I'm going to jump to the presentation. We're going to look at. So in terms of retail, the key features here, it's a unified solution. So basically, whether people are coming to you via the web, via a store, via a mobile, via a call center, they have that consistent shopping experience. All of the data, the information is coming from this one single source. So people in your call centres can see the history of the customer they're talking to. The customer themselves are logging onto the web, they can see their history. Within the store, if somebody comes into the store and purchases something, you can see their history and so on. There are extensions as well that will recognise people as they come into the store based on the mobile they're carrying with them and so on. So you really extend this fantastically rich functionality. I will show you something, a quick look at a web store shortly, just to give you an idea what it looks like. Again, sorry, talking about that core functionality, your product images, your product data sheets and so on are all held within. So the images people see on the web shop are consistent with those in your catalogues and so on. So you've got that, again, you've got this single branding going on. You've got tools to look at delivering product in real time. You can see exactly where you are. Somebody goes into a store, they want a particular size, it's not available. The person on the impulse, on the till or the tablet can see immediately, oh, it's not here, but it's actually in our store down the road and so on. It's, again, it's that single knitted together solution. I'm going to touch retail fairly lightly. You've got tools for effectively managing your merchandising. So you can streamline your sourcing. Again, you can look at market demand, you can look at seasonality, you can set up replenishment rules and so on, and take into account all the competitive pressures that you're under. So you can really, get all your data in one place. You've got the facility to slice and dice it. You can look at promotions by category, channel, season. You can look at the impact of loyalty and so on. It's the power of everything in that one solution. So you can say this retail also hooks into finance and ops, so the whole procurement is tied in also. And to repeat myself, we've got you've got this whole view, this insight across the piece. You've got the facility to chain together and workflow your end of day activities. So you can close the store quicker, you can automate various functions in here. You've got that visibility of your inventory across the piece, across all stores, and so on. You've also got the facility to you meet changing business demands. Perhaps you don't have a web presence right now. That would probably be somewhat unusual, but you can start with a core, with perhaps stores. You can extend out into stores. You can have multiple brands, so you can differentiate your offering via your web stores and so on. What's coming in the latest release? This is quite a wordy one. So we've got distributed order management, which is quite a mouthpiece. That's really just looking at how we can best fulfill our demands based on distribution centres, based on rules and scope and profiles that we define. We can record our store opening hours, so those appear on receipts and various other places, so people can see immediately when is the store open. It's within the system rather than having to keep it in a separate bit of data in a database. But it's behind your web shop, it's within this single product, with a single solution, so again, people can see that no matter how they're purchasing. We've got an improved payment connector. We've also got improved omni-channel processing. So for example, in a single process now, people can return stock that perhaps they bought over the web to a store and maybe exchange it. And rather than it being several transactions going on, via a single transaction now, you can actually do things like returns and exchanges, no matter how it's returned and so on. Okay, that's a whistle-stop tour. Let's talk about talent. So talent is, it's the vision here from Microsoft. This is the newest part of the product suite, is to have a sort of best-of-breed HR solution within. So going back to the whole product suite, years ago, people used to look at having lots of best-of-breed solutions and knitting them together, which was costly, difficult, and so on, particularly as one upgraded and so on. So the concept here is to have finance and operations to be a best-of-breed, for retail to be a strong retail solution, and then for talent to really be one of the best HR solutions out there in the market space. So how does that work? So hiring is obviously key. Businesses suffer from not being able to find the right people. So Microsoft are really leveraging their investment in LinkedIn, and they've linked talent to that. So you can use LinkedIn talent solutions to really start looking at who's out there, bringing in the CVs and the data and using that in the hiring process. You've then also got the facility to create portals for your candidates. Once someone's within that hiring process, you can have a portal so they can actually look to see exactly how things are progressing. They can look at the schedule of when their interviews are, any questionnaires that they require and so on. Also from a hiring manager's perspective, this is all in one system, in one location. They can see as well their schedule. Again, it ties into the Microsoft stack. An interview in Talent will appear as an interview in your Outlook calendar. It's going to be there. You don't have to be talking between various systems. It's all completely seamless. While we're talking about this as well, I move on to the next slide. So GDPR is a hot topic on everyone's lips. If you've got a single source of HR data, it is so much easier to maintain your GDPR compliance. You've got all your employee and staff data in one place. So if you need to anonymise, remove, whatever, any data, it's all there. You haven't got to look at lots of files and folders all over the place. It's in one place. Carrying on with talent, we've got an onboarding process. So you define your process with checklists, activities, and so on. It can be again as simple or as complex as you want, and it can start before hire. It may be that we're sending certain details out about the company before that our potential candidate joins us. Perhaps we're setting up meetings with a buddy within the system, within the company, and so on before they join, and we're sending details about where they can eat, where locally. So effectively, you can really let people know exactly what their roles are and give them lots of information via this process. And again, which really helps people settle in. Having that defined process, defined repeatable process within a single solution, enables you to really fine-tune this, but make sure that everyone has that consistent experience across the piece. Once people are in, we've then got a facility to develop them, and so on. So we've got the concept of continuous learning. People have the option, they can self-serve and look at courses that are available. They can track how they're doing, and really, you can really tailor their training for them and have the links in there so that people can self-serve and look at actually these are the courses that the company recommends, and they can really sort of plan those for you. You've also got professional growth built in, caters for here. You can define clear career paths, detailed profiles with experience, skills, competencies, and so on, so people can really see what do they need to do to move from where they are to where they want to be. Then, two-way process. Your employees have the facility to provide feedback within here. You have two-way performance sessions you can set up. You've got performance dashboards that you can be looking at as a manager and be setting those targets and goals and goal management and so on exactly as you want to. So really, really powerful solution here. In terms of what's coming, jumping ahead one slide. So really, this is all about maximizing your impact. You're freeing up your HR team from doing the day-to-day work, and they can focus on the strategic stuff. If you can automate your routine HR tasks, benefits, compensation, even to an extent, attracting the right employees and so on, people can really then focus on growing that business and raising the profile of HR within your organisation. In terms of things that are coming, there's a much stronger link now with LinkedIn Recruiter that will actually take advantage of some of the artificial intelligence that's out there to really look for the right people and present them to you. So rather than you having to find them, it can present them to you, and it's also a seamless process now. So you're not toggling between LinkedIn Recruiter and Talent. The two are interlinked. So you've got, as a user, you've got that seamless process. I won't talk about the next two. Then give you the bulk update guides, and we've got really strong leave and absence management. Power Apps and Flow, I'll touch on quickly because I literally almost at the time, so apologies for this. Power Apps is a tool for really generating your own mobile apps. As an example, one of the gaps we found with one client was they wanted to monitor their fixed assets and do stock check. There's no mobile function in this core solution to do that. So we very quickly, in a matter of hours, had a Power App up that would enable you to go around, barcode your fixed assets, and record them in the system. So you can create your own apps very easily And Flow, as I said, is a way of linking lots of systems together. If you want more detail on these, please do speak to John and the team, and we can line up some very specific targeted demos on each of these. And I will stop there and pass over to John. Thank you very much for your time.
Andy, thank you very much. Very comprehensive. In the interest of time, I'm going to whiz through this, but in terms of the licensing, just the slide we have here, if I can direct your attention to the right-hand side of the slide. So in terms of how Microsoft structure their licensing pricing, the whole platform is licensed either by applications, individual applications, so retail, talent, finance and operations, or as a plan. So very quickly you tip over into the plan being more cost effective. As soon as you need at least two of the individual applications, then the plan becomes more cost effective. Worth noting that finance and operations isn't available standalone, so that's only available when you buy the Unified Operations Plan, which is why it doesn't have a price there against the finance and operations application. Pricing is RRP, so current October 2018 RRP, ex-VAT pricing, and it's really there just to give you the relative costs of the individual apps versus the plan. Worth noting, actually, if you are looking to invest in the Unified Operations Plan, then you can take the overarching Dynamics 365 plan at the top for about £15 per user per month more onto that 143 per user per month, that then would give you very cost effectively the entire customer engagement, so in terms of CRM as well as operations. So you could take the whole platform if you want to look at that. If we look at the individual elements just from the bottom, in terms of team members, first rung of the ladder, the team members license actually allows that licensed team member to read across the whole platform. So if you are using any of the customer engagement, the CRM aspects, you've also got visibility there in terms of read-only capability. From an operations perspective, there are specific actions and functionality that a team member can do. So, for example, recording time, expense, managing personal information, and also approving time, expenses, and invoices can be done by the team member's license. They can also create requisitions, create and edit as well entries relating to quality control, service orders, and departmental budgets. And there are some HR activities that can be done with the team member's license, but it is of course limited, and the price reflects that. In terms of the activity license, the operations activity license, that includes everything that you get within team members, but it steps up with some specific activities that are really retail orientated. So, for example, creating or editing items related to warehousing, shipping, receipts, orders, vendor maintenance, and budgets and so forth. Also some specific point-of-sale device operation or certain role aspects as store manager or shop floor users, or indeed warehouse device users. So that is a user-based license at $37.70. There is also the option to buy as a device-based license. So licensing really again within the warehouse or perhaps the shop floor, a specific device that multiple users can access. Hence the higher unit price there for the device license versus the user license. There is dual use rights. Andy touched on at the beginning. There is on-prem as well as cloud-based. The recommendation here is to take the cloud-based approach and the licensing here. And if you do have an on-prem deployment of the Dynamics 365 operations server, then you've essentially got the CAL entitlement included within the apps or the plan, or indeed the team members. The associated functionality allows you to access the operations server, which is the latest version of the on-prem Dynamics AX platform essentially, or go back as well. You are permitted to deploy an earlier version, so downgrade rights are there, but limited back to Dynamics AX 2012 R3 server. That, I think, we're over time. That's it in a whistle stop. As I've said, absolutely very, very happy between Softcat and QuantiQ to field any follow-ups. If you could contact your Softcat account manager, normal channels, and we would be very happy to talk about specific scenarios with each of you or any particular aspirations you've got to use the platform, or indeed any specific demos you'd like to see or scopes of work you want to investigate. But with that, Andy, thank you very much. Appreciate your input here. I think we'll close the webinar.
Has left